I would like to have a look, or I would like to have a closer look at those, let's say, features of our political system that are more stable, let's say, or that are not only contextually related. I mean, even though the uniqueness of current crisis was emphasized from the very beginning of today's conference, I would like to, as I was allowed to do this, to speak a little bit about clientelism. So, and okay, what inspired us to do this research? The mechanism, of course, we observe in Poland, and our claim is that this mechanism is responsible for, I mean, allowed peace to win the elections after 2015. And the mechanism might be depicted like you can see here, as you can see here. So with peace, I believe that during my presentation, all these components will be clarified. I mean, I will. It's not the structure of my presentation, but I will capture all these components in the presentation. But the structure of these clientelistic links, according to us, looks like that. So when it comes to um, yeah, as I said, we saw clientelistic links, and the clientelistic links are, of course, a kind of linkages. And to just quickly remind you the significance of linkages, so we have numerous studies on the linkages between political parties and societies. We have many research on the links between political parties and different kinds of organizations. The linkages were also analyzed or explored in the context of declining party membership or declining trade union density. So as these concepts or these processes were overlapping or going together. And of course, the clientelistic links were useful in the analysis of Herbert Kichelt, who dealt with political parties and voters. And when it comes to the definition of clientelism, so it can be described as a process of exchanging benefits and support between political parties and voters. Yeah. So this transition varies from other types of relationships, that it's not programmatic or based on identity, but the only criterion of establishing such ties is it is based on rewarding clients and the exchange of the process of votes for awards for favors. But what is when it comes to in operational terms, we may say that we may speak about, in general terms, we may speak about vote buying, but we decided because of Polish case is not so, let's say, rich in this case. So we focus and we operationalize clientelism as or using two variables, as you can see. So it is patronage, namely party linkages, and particularistic budgetary spending. Especially particularistic budget spending might be regarded as the most significant factor in building support, in also, let's say, maintaining the process of communication. We also decided to combine this clientelism with the performance of civil society organizations, since previous studies confirmed that civil society might weaken or contribute to democratic blossoming, and we can see this impact or the involvement of these organizations in maintaining clientelism or developing clientelism in Poland. And the question arises from, I mean, we may put the question why, maybe, and if Poland can be regarded as fertile ground for clientelism. And as it was found it was highlighted in previous studies by very many scholars dealing with political competition in our region. We had very weak links between political parties and electorates, and also in the very beginning of our transformation, and probably it is also now affecting the current situation. We have very poor in some areas poor bureaucracy or public administration, and quite large space for quite large room for maneuvering by politicians having at their disposal quite large public sector and state-owned companies. Yes, so Kitchell formulated the opinion that the competition in countries of Central and Eastern Europe might be less susceptible to clientelism, and we might share this view. So we employed both quantitative and qualitative method in our studies. So when it comes to quantitative, we referred mostly to varieties of democracy. When it comes to qualitative data, we referred to we studied, of course, legislation, but also the performance of NGOs and the performance, the activity of National Freedom Institute, responsible for coordinating the tenders. Yeah. So when it comes to results, you can see this is, as I said before, as I mentioned before, based on varieties of democracy. So the evolution of clientelism in Poland, you can see a rise from 2016. Yeah. So this is how it has been developed from this period of time. I mean, from after the election of 2015. It is based on the paper, or on the index. These data are based on the index elaborated, worked out by the research team of varieties of democracy, and they captured in their studies also in this index, calculating the results of this index. They included also this component of vote buying, which is for our further studies, as I suggested, completely useless, since it was useful in their comparative research, but for us, while dealing only with Polish case, is out of use. However, of course, the whole index is comprised of these three components. Yeah. So we may say it's nothing specific, more or less, when it comes to clientelism, the level of clientelism in Poland comparing to Western Europe or Northern America. And when it comes to while being focused on this particular components, let me show you particularistic or public goods state expenditures. So you can see that while Law and Justice came to power, they became, or these public goods state expenditures became less biased, let's say. But we call, while explaining this, we may speak about, and of course we are, I'm curious of your opinions on it, but we may call it a zero option. We may regard it as zero option, because they then, after coming to power, peace claimed they would make the process of grant distribution more transparent and fair. So they, but of course, the fairness, they define this fairness and transparency. So, but the data looks like that. When it comes to political corruption, we also may record we are witnessing the rise after a short decline. And when it comes to the consultation with the religious organization, if you remember our figure from the very first slide, so that plays important role. That play important role in the whole system of building and strengthening clientelistic links. So the importance of religious organizations and consultations with these organizations is growing as well. So evidence of clientelistic linkages. We may see the impact of these organizations on ongoing debates. Even the legislation that was being processed was a kind of reflection of the stances of these organizations. And of course, after 2015, we can observe we have witnessed the quite interesting, let's say, and growing process, the process of allocation of well-paying position in state companies, and this was the scale of this phenomenon was and became really huge, so this is about evidence when it comes to these the ways how United Right used state resources to support church-related organizations. They did it in a few different ways. So firstly, preferential funding for favored organizations, known to be especially respected and influential among specific groups of Catholics in Poland. So we have on mind firstly. Do you have any remark? Because pardon. Do you have any comments to? No, probably not to me. Okay, because I noticed raised hand, and okay, so it's private. So I have on mind Radio Maria or Ordo Iuris Foundation. Another way of supporting this organization was being done by via funding of church-affiliated NGOs through general grant mechanisms. From 2015, Law and Justice and its coalition partners strive to establish new mechanisms. So it was reflected also in the previous quantitative data. And funding the maintenance of sacral monuments within the general scheme of heritage protection, which is not bad, of course, but if we compare the numbers, how many of these monuments affiliated or let's say sacral buildings were supported comparing to the whole number of buildings, it's something. And the third way is the fourth pattern of supporting this organization was incorporating religious organization preferences into legislation. I mentioned this already. And in return, institutions and organizations related to the Roman Catholic Church provided clear support for the ruling rightist parties during the elections by firstly displaying their candidates' posters and other election materials on church premises, organizing candidate meetings and promoting events on church premises, and church official making public statements echoing political or campaigning themes. So when it comes to conclusions, so we found that that United Right government cultivated clientelistic links, and Catholic Church with organizations affiliated with it were involved in this process. And but this what we can observe also, these transfers were directed only to selected organizations. So we can't say that all organizations were equally beneficial in this respect. And this especially symbolic appreciation of the organization manifested in drafting bills that reflect the preferences of this organization wasn't very successful in the end, as we could see recently. And this process, of course, was possible due to the fact that we had actually one-party government. Of course, these tensions between political partners, between coalition partners, grew from time to time, but in the end, they all were concentrated on supporting those organizations. And we are not going to say that clientelism is something that is a dominant feature of our politics, and it is that these links, the building of these links is already completed. We are talking about clientelism as a process of ongoing linkage building. So and probably we have, but we may, even though we are witnessing this horrible crisis, horrible war in Ukraine, and we experience this pandemic crisis, we believe, we argue that these links between law and justice and ruling parties will be maintained after this crisis. Yeah, so this is all from me. Thank you for having me. If you have, should you have any comments or questions, please don't hesitate. Thank you.